Kicking down your front door, right? People in your drapes. Rob in the back making a plate. Talking about blended families. Chief Hall Podcast. Right now, it's a heavy topic because it's interesting. Because it seems like this subject is this is what the community is made up of in a lot of ways. But if you go back and you look at history, because we like to look at history and what's going on now, then we want to see how that all fits in the big picture, which we are here at Chief Hall Podcast. We're all about making sure people understand what we see as the big picture and how it could affect us as a whole. You know, how does it affect us as a whole, and what can we do moving forward? You know, blended families. How could you define blended families? I throw that at you.
Well, let me say this. Okay, so a blended family is basically, take my situation. You know, I have 3 kids. My wife has 3 kids. You know, and that's pretty much what a blended family is. And then, you know, we're talking about how we're going to navigate that. You know, because you have a lot of different, how can I say,
nuances,
right,
to keep harmony, to keep
characters.
Peace.
I mean, well, different attitudes and stuff like that. You know, and that's pretty much what it is.
I mean, it's more common now, but long time ago, a widow, it would be a commendable thing for a man to take on a widow, especially during the time of the wars, the World War I, World War II, when men were lost at war and women were left with children. It was a commendable thing for a man to step up and assist with the raising of another man's children, a war hero. And but it was a lot of that going on. But as time went on, before that, it wasn't something that was common or was supported by the community as a whole. We understood people got together and they got divorced, and now you leave a family and a woman that has not been working and can't survive. So she got help. Now more so we see it in a different way where people are not married. They have children, right, but they wasn't married to the person that they had the kids from. That they had the kids from. So now that situation is a little bit different, because now you're looking at a woman that it looks to the community that she made a bad judgment call or something went wrong. That's what it looks like to the community that really looks at it. And that family, now she's alone, and now it's harder for her to resolve that issue as far as finding a mate that can come in, because when you look at the pros and cons of it, especially if you got girls, here you are, your girls have grown, your children have grown up, and now you face a situation where you bring a man that's not his seed. One YouTuber always compared what happens in a pride of lions, which is different than humans, but we could see how it could be thought that way, where a pride of lions, where a male lion, when he wants to take over a pride, he will attack and conquer the males that were there, and then he immediately kills off all of the offspring. And that act causes the lionesses to go into heat. After they grieve, they go into heat. And then he now, because that's how they secure strong bloodlines. The ones that are able to take over prides, they are considered strong males, dominant males, and that's what they want as pride. That's who they want to run the pride. But you have to look at it a little bit different than human, because we're not gonna go in and kill up nobody's children. We're not gonna do that. We just have to make a decision.
Yeah, because you have to be in jail.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. But in the mindset has to change when you're taking on that responsibility. And the mother really has to consider that, because now your children are vulnerable to a man that he has no investment. That's not his seed. So that man, that's a rare man that could come in and treat your kids like his kids, because that's what he's going to have to do.
Yeah.
He's going to have to treat them. And those kids are going to have to respect him like that's their dad. And see, this is where the problem happens with blended families. Whenever blended families don't work, mostly it's because of the respect factor on both sides.
Yeah.
The children and the person coming into the situation. It must be respect.
Well, I'll say this, right?
At all costs.
Well, yeah, you're 100% right, man. But when you say the respect thing, what happens is sometimes those kids are influenced by the custodial parent that they live with, right? So, with a blended family, of course, you got kids, right? But, for a male, those kids don't live with him, right? But they live with the mother or whatever, right? So, those are some of the obstacles that you have to fight, because
so
those...
You're looking from the other side now.
Right,
You're talking about a man who, he got kids, and then now the kids are with the mom, and now the mom is now thinking about being in a relationship with another man.
No.
You're not talking about that?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking something similar to that, right? But the mom is... Okay, so the mom is just... I'm going to say it. The mother is an asshole.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to say it because I told you it's a trigger, right? So the mother... So the mother is
not being cooperative.
It's not being cooperative, right?
Okay.
So the mother can influence her kid, her child that you both have in common, can influence that child to be disrespectful to the other side, which is
so that
your mate.
It's
you understand what I'm saying?
That's damaging. It's not
right.
It makes it bad. That's
Yeah,
not.
it does.
It didn't blend in. That's not a blended family, because a blended family, it has come together and blended, and everybody understands their roles and take it on. You have to leave everything else out.
Yeah.
And that's hard. You see why it's hard for these families to actually function, where everybody respects and loves and cares, and that man has dedicated his life to those his kids, or that woman is doing that for this man's kids, and everybody loves and respects and understand that there's some parents on the outside that they have to respect them too, their wishes. You see how hard it is? That's why it can be a problem. And our community is made up a lot of that. And that's why the community is suffering in so many ways, so many spinoffs. You got all these different things happening, and it's a lot of it is because of what's happening with blended families. People are not doing it. And families, period. There's less families like what we know families.
Right.
It's the 60s when we had all those families and all when the black community was 80% married at a high rate, and those were not blended families.
Right.
And it's so hard to, and people now are trying to make it work, but they making it work the wrong way. I'm married into my wife has a son, then we have a daughter together.
Right.
And I had to just say to myself, this is my son. That's it.
Right.
And that helps me help me love and understand. I can't let myself say, well, he's not my son. I have to embrace him and train him and teach him and help him to be a man. And forget all about that. If his dad ever showed up and came and talked or whatever, I want to let him know that I'm treating him like he's my son.
Right.
So that I can ensure his survival and the success. The success rate will be higher if I take it on in that manner.
Yeah. Well, to me, first of all, it depends on how you were raised, right? So if you're a real man and understanding the climate that we live in now, so this is the norm. Mm-hmm. Okay? So blended families is basically the norm. Right, it's becoming as being a norm, right? Mm-hmm. So, in my mind, when you enter in a blended family, right, mm-hmm. and your woman, speaking from a male perspective, you marry a woman that have kids. So, to me, how I was raised, that's automatic for you to treat those kids like they're your own. Mm-hmm. That's just how I see it now. Getting back to the other side of things, when you have that conflict, right? When you have a parent that's not cooperative, You understand what I'm saying? And when it comes down to the, teaching your kids, it's what you have to do is you have to maintain. You have to. Okay, so both parties have to be on the same page. I'm talking about with a married couple that has a blended family, right?
Yeah.
So both people have to be on the same page, right? And we both people have to understand that, hey, look, we both have kids outside, right? We both have marriages that we were in. Okay, so
and that's a key thing. You said marriages that we were in.
Right. So when it come down to the children, both people have to be on the same page when it comes to the discipline, right?
Oh boy, yeah.
So I'm touching on that for
Touch
now,
on
right?
it.
So I believe that children have to be programmed. You understand what I'm saying? Children have to be programmed. So whatever you do at your custodial parent house, right? When you come to daddy house, look, I'm going to have to reprogram you because you're not going to come here and there'll be any kind of disrespect. You know what I mean? So I know I'm kind of going off in a tangent, right? But I'm just saying, I'm trying to give a little,
trying to show how
how to navigate that
how
situation.
It has to work. Yeah.
Right.
What you got to do to make it work.
Yeah. So that's kind of it's and to be honest with you, that's like a constant. That's a constant thing that you have to continue. That's continuous.
Yeah.
Now in some situations, you have it easier. In some situations, where
nobody is on outside involved,
right? Where it's actually blended, like how you said. It's
that's the goal.
Yeah.
If kids, kids got to understand, or you got to try your best to help them understand the situation that happened where you and their mother are no longer together.
Right.
Now, me and this woman are trying to build a life together. And I won't disrespect your mama, but I want you to understand you can't disrespect
right.
my new wife.
Right.
And now, we saying wife and husband. This is a very important part. Baby mama and somebody that you had a baby for, and there was no commitment. They had a baby, and now you got all this chaos, and now somebody's trying to help you raise a family and navigate through life. And now you having all this flack from some guy that you never was committed to anyway about a baby. Somebody has to draw the line on how far we're going to let this affect the future of our communities and our families. Somebody's in that relationship. You have to say, I'm not going to tolerate that type of behavior, even if you have to, and that person coming into that, it makes a big difference whether or not this can be that type of investment. If you're coming into a relationship and you seeing that, and you trying to talk to this woman and you seeing she having all these difficulties with a guy that was never committed to her, then that's going to have a bearing on whether or not we're going to go any further. A smart man, like the statistics show that men that are successful with what's going on in their lives, they're starting to make a lot of money and they're doing different things. They would prefer to start their own families with younger women that didn't go through that.
Yeah,
they wouldn't even consider it. Now that's what studies show and statistics show, based on men that what you want to call high value, as talked about all over. But when you really look at it, and when you talk to men that make that kind of money, and they do consider starting their own families if they don't have any.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference. But now how are we going to look at this for the future so that we can make sure that kids understand, because it's not the ideal situation. It's not ideal. Of course, you want to get in a marriage, stay together, no matter what, and that's what the old families did. I've heard a lot of stories from people married 50 years, and they say if you knew what me and my wife have made it through, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't understand what it takes. How you and your mom made through. They stayed married no matter what.
Yeah.
Nothing was going break them up. They were gonna stay together. If I don't like how you talk or whatever, we stand in this house together, and you my wife, I'm your husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't all about, well, I ain't happy. Well, no, we it's bigger than being happy. It's just what the commitment we made.
Well, I could say this, man. Nowadays, in this climate of people, people don't see it that way no more. People justify certain things, or we all justify certain things, a certain way.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to stick it out and stay in something.
And it's a selfish. When you really look at it, if you separate without looking at how it's going to affect the family, that's selfish.
Yeah.
And I think back to when I divorced from my first divorce. You get so frustrated going back and forth and dealing with it, trying to work. You just think about, well, this is what I got to do for me.
Yeah.
And then you don't realize that the kids are going to suffer way more than you.
Yeah.
And that's why it's not intended to do that. You're supposed to buckle down and fight and work through it and make sure everybody understand what the disrespect. Now, if it's torn down and everybody you can't get no cooperation, of course, then that's probably a union that shouldn't have never been together. And you was trying to make something work, then you got these kids, and now you got a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
But when you think about what it is, when we talk about biblical concepts, when we think about till death do you part, is what the vow, one of the vows of a marriage. Because God is the only one that claims marriage as his own. Nobody else does. There's no other entity, no other being on earth that accepts marriage as his creation. Nobody. So people look at marriage and say, well, I don't believe in God. Well, God is the only one that said a man and woman should be together. They two shall be twain. So it's an institution that God put on forth for humans to come together and repopulate the earth and join together and raise children. That was something that God designed. There's no other entity decided that marriage was important in order to build families, communities, churches, government, city, county. Everything comes from a family. And somehow we start to keep up forgetting that everything comes from a family. Everything that's so important to us, that we work so hard for, it doesn't matter without a family, without our communities growing, without us watching children grow and be able to do something. And it all starts with the family. So, Rob, we could talk about the Get a Blended Families Part 2, but we better remember where we left off at. My big thing is making sure that everybody's on the same page working together so that whatever situation we find ourselves in, we can make it work. But everybody has to lay it out on the line and talk straight and make sure they understand. Me and my wife, we talked straight before we got married. I told her that's my son. He's going to be my son. He's going to be part of all the things that come my way. I want to establish a future for him, just like he's my seed. He's my seed now through adoption. And I'm saying this is what it is. And we had to have that kind of talk. Nobody coming in here. I told my kids that you're not. I want y'all to understand, this is my wife now. You can't come here with all that. She got to be comfortable. She's not gonna feel uncomfortable. When you come over here, you're gonna respect and do what you got to do, or you can go get an Airbnb, do what you got to do. But this is where I made comfortable for her. Yeah. She's gonna have to be respected as Miss Wesley now. And I told I want everybody to understand. I want my wife to understand that these are my kids now, and they're not gonna disrespect you. And I know, and I don't want them to ever feel that you disrespecting them and mistreating them. And that's how things could be kept at peace. Kept at peace.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. Everything is peace is what is the priceless aspect of living in the world, having peace and being able to have gratitude and love and for everything that you're trying to do and establish as a man and your family. So Chief Hall Podcast, we're talking about that heavy stuff, blended families. Soon we'll be taking calls. I don't know when we'll do it, but soon we'll set it up, and you could have called in and let me hear what you had to say about blended families. And we'll bring it up again if somebody, once they get on there and they say it, we see a lot of comments about that on YouTube, then we'll talk about it again. And we'll make sure people understand just where we come from and how it can really work.
Yeah, let me say something, right?
Man. Hit them up.
So we're gonna start doing this live, right? So that's what we lean into, to start streaming live.
Yeah.
Okay, and then once we stream live, then we will repurpose the content. So I just want us to get a little bit more comfortable. Yeah. So but just want to let everybody know that we definitely gonna start streaming live.
Stream live, so you can call in and talk to us.
Yeah. This is gonna be one of the rare moments that I'm actually on camera. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually sitting here now, man, looking down at the board, trying to make sure that I press these buttons right, man. And be switching back and forth through these cameras, man. And I'm on this here.
Oh, okay.
This red cup.
Water. Yeah, you got a little water. Okay,
yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. This some Mexican water.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mexican water.
Oh, that could be a problem.
Yeah. That's that Mexican water right there. But anyway, that's what I had to say. So I think you want to talk about that Hamas thing, Nah, you don't want to talk about that. Huh?
Next segment.
Oh, next segment.
Next segment, we're gonna try to break that down a little bit.
Okay.
Because
that's a blended family too. Like you told me earlier.
In a different manner. Yeah, that's right. So Chief Hall Podcast, Rob over there, Ray couldn't be here tonight, but we got a shout out to him and we telling him what's happening. We plan all to be at homecoming and be able to do that. We might be able to record. No, might be able. We're going to record from homecoming. So you'll get to see some of that and we'll put it up on the page. We'll talk to people. We'll walk around and talk to people at homecoming and get some of the live comments and everything from the people. And if we get on the sideline, watch out. Chief Hall Podcast, I'm Frankie D. We out.
Yeah, man.
Crank that phone.